Hello, hello, hello. Howdy ho, ladies and gents. Welcome to another empowering episode of Pep Talks with Megan De La Concha. That is me, your host of another awesome episode. Just like every episode on here, this is a real-time journey, meaning I share with you in real time my real raw journey of what I'm going through. I think it's so important because even though it is inspiring and it's so admirable and at one, it's inevitable. I'm going to be at this place in my life where I'm looking back and I'm telling you about things that have happened years ago or months ago and how I got to where I am, years from now. But right now, I just think it's so important because a lot of times we only hear about, um, you know, how it was for people when they've already quote unquote made it. And so I just want to offer something a tad bit different. And I want to share with you what I'm going through when I'm going through it, because I know I'm not the only one going through seasons of life and struggles and uncertainties and fears. And also, I'm not even the positive stuff. I'm not the only one celebrating things and going through different types of transformation. So I want to come on here and really just share the real journey of my life being an entrepreneur, being a women's empowerment and confidence coach, and just kind of, taking you guys along with me as I journey into this purpose that's been given to me, especially coming from my story. If you have not heard my story yet, I can't even tell you what episode it is, but I know it exists. I believe it's one of the first few, obviously, of getting to know me. But I am in this place right now due to years and years of desperately trying to find who I was, my identity, my voice, what I stood for, having the courage to stand up for myself, to advocate for myself, to know what my morals and my values were, to know who Megan was, and to fully embrace her past, present, and future. And it has taken me a very long time and a lot of core work every single day to get to where I am today. And of course, an insurmountable amount of faith, right? But that's all been a journey within itself. And it started, really the catalyst, it started obviously from, my childhood. But the real catalyst in this sequence of events is that I found all of this. I became fully present on this journey after a 7-year, very toxic, very abusive relationship and drug abuse, domestic violence, mentally, verbally, emotionally, and eventually physically. And how I coped with it all was being high all the time until I had my firstborn. And that was when I was lying in the hospital bed by myself, 27 years old. I had just had an emergency C-section. I didn't read a thing about C-sections because I just thought there's just no way that would ever happen to me. In a lot of pain by myself, and hiding painkillers underneath my tongue and putting them in my bag after the nurse had left so that my son's father could come get the painkillers for himself, while I laid there in excruciating pain and also in an immense amount of fear because I was by myself. I have a newborn. And even though my relationship wasn't where it is by any means with God today, it was basically non-existent except for the fact that I believed in God, but I didn't believe in the type of God that I know who he is to be today. But I just cried and I cried and I just knew something had to change. Something had to change. I could not bring this baby home into the environment that I had been tolerating. And I had finally accepted where I was at, and I finally accepted my reality, because the thing is I knew what my reality was. And in order to escape that, in order to shoo away any type of accountability and responsibility, and not saying I was the one responsible for being in this relationship. No, it was the responsibility of having to make a choice. And in order to run from that, I escaped reality by getting high. I have a degree, I have many degrees, and that focus on alternative health. And I am a big advocate for THC, you know, for CBD, for cannabis, for marijuana use. Huge advocate of nothing against it, nothing at all. I even use it periodically. My brothers do. They actually work for dispensaries, really good, reputable companies. But that's what I was using. And I was abusing it. Right. I was abusing that. I was getting high in the mornings. I was coming home from on lunch break and I was getting high on lunch. And then in the evening. So again, going back to that night of the hospital, I was scared out of my mind. I was so lost and confused and hopeless and just broken, just really broken. And I just cried out like, God, you've got to help me. You've got to help me. I don't know what to do, but I can't do this. And there were so many times that I had my bags packed and a suitcase hidden. And it wasn't even necessarily the fact that I thought I wasn't strong enough to leave, because I was. It was, I knew I just wasn't strong enough to stay away. And the consequences that I knew would be rendered unto me had I tried to leave, had I exposed what was going on behind closed doors and then return, I honestly would have been afraid for my life. But even that right there scared me enough to continue to stay. And I know a lot of people are in that position. I know a lot of women stay in relationships because of that. And even toxic friendships that can be mentally abusive and verbally abusive, 100%. Even, jobs and professions where bosses or other employees, and you feel like you have to stay there. And so many people asked, how could you stay in that relationship for so long? And I myself was one of those people who judged other women like, how do you stay in an abusive relationship? Just leave. Like, so naive, so ignorant at the time. And it's really not anything that you will understand unless you've been in that situation. It's really hard because it's not like you walk through the front door or you go on your first date and all of a sudden they're abusive. Abuse is silent and it's manipulative, and it happens over time in such subtle ways that once you recognize and realize that you're really in the middle of a abusive relationship, you're so far into it. And maybe you do have kids. And a lot of people say, I want to stay for the kids. But for me, heck no. I wanted to get out because there was no way that any person walking around with my blood would grow up to treat women like this, or to think that it's okay to treat anybody like this, to live their life like this, hurting and in pain and fearful and insecure on both sides. On both sides, we were both broken. So I had enough, and I finally accepted what my reality was. And that's really hard to do. So for those of you who have actually done that and have moved on, I lift you up and I hold you very high, and I hope you hold yourself high every single day, because that is one of the hardest things to do. Not even just leaving, but again, staying away. And not even just staying away, but also not finding yourself in that same type of relationship again, because that's another risk that comes to it, right? Is we may leave and we may stay away from that person, but if we don't heal everything, and I'm not talking about just what you have physically and mentally endured during that relationship, but also what was going on before that relationship, right? For me, it was a dying need to be validated by everybody else. I was so insecure and I was so codependent on every single other person in my life besides myself and besides the Lord. And because I put that vulnerability into the hands of others, other human beings, when they crushed it, when they used it, when they abused it, when they manipulated it, and then handed it back to me in pieces, I would blame them for that. And then I would start to wonder, well, why would they do that to me? What is it about me? I'm giving them everything. Everything. Why would they do that to me? Why would they treat me like a piece of trash, like a piece of garbage? And it's because I was giving everything to them. I held nothing for myself. Nothing was sacred about me. I was handing over myself like I was a piece of trash, like a piece of garbage that meant nothing. There was no meaning to my identity. There was no meaning for my life. And I kept looking for that identity. I kept looking for that meaning in other people, in other things. So that allowed me to be vulnerable and susceptible to a relationship like this. And I didn't want to admit it, because this is what happens in any area of your life, with anything big or small. When you accept what it is, you then have a choice automatically. So as long as you deny it, you run from it, you resist it, you take away your responsibility. Oh, no, my life isn't like that. That's not my relationship. You take away your responsibility and the accountability you have for making a choice. Because when you say, you know what, I'm in an abusive relationship and I don't want this, and this isn't right, and I can't believe this is happening to me and I need to get out of it. You have a choice to stay, or you have a choice to go. And either one is scary as all heck. And there's a lot of shame in staying. You have a lot of regret. You have a lot of guilt that you constantly carry with you for the rest of your life. It's that burden that just sits on your back like a huge tumor, and you hate it so much. And you just wish with all of your might that, and you try to pray it away, and you try to just cut it away, and you try to ignore it. But it just gets deeper and deeper and heavier and heavier and heavier. So when you don't admit what you're in, right? And that's why when you hear a lot of women, and myself included, you start to make excuses for why this relationship is what it is, or why this person is doing this. You start to make excuses, not even for the why, but you start to gratitude shame and use gratitude as a weapon against you, and say, well, at least I have somebody to come home to at night. At least I'm not alone. Like, you're so low on who you are. You're so lost, and you're so desperate to find who you are that you don't care who it could be the devil himself. But as long as you're not alone, as long as that void is being filled, even though it's painful, physically painful, as long as you're not alone. Or he has his good days, and you know what? When we're good, we're really good. Like, how many of you have said that, or even have heard people saying that, whether it's your friend, heard yourself saying it, a family member, somebody you know, a coworker saying, well, you know what? Listen, when we're bad, but girl, when we're good, we are so good. And I just love it. And it just reminds me of all the things that I love about him. And you know what? He's a human. He's going through his stuff too. He's going through a lot. So I don't blame him. What? You don't really? Really? That's interesting. You don't blame him for what? Slamming you up against a door? Pushing your face up against a window while you're driving? Because he's completely inebriated and your infant son is in the back seat sleeping? No, you don't blame him for that? What? Because he's going through some daddy issues? You don't blame him for throwing things at you? A high chair, a remote control, threatening you, saying, if you ever cheat on me, I will kill him and you, literally threatening your life, coming in at 3 a.m. and ripping the covers off of you because he's just pissed off for whatever reason. He drank too much whiskey. Right? He didn't win his MLB PlayStation game, whatever it is. Oh, it's okay. He's going through things. Please. That's a lie from the pits of hell. But see, we make these excuses, and I don't blame you. I didn't blame myself for making the same excuses. And then what happened, the excuses were easy. But then what happens is you start to try so hard to convince yourself that these aren't excuses, they're truths. They're truths. We try so hard to believe what we're saying. That's the hardest part to let go. That is the hardest part to let go of. Because you work so hard, you put so much time and effort in. You're so badly broken that if you surrendered to the truth now, you feel you might just float away in the wind because you're ashes. Because now whatever was there, whatever was left has now just been completely burned to the ground. And now you're nothing but ashes. And you might go away and never come back. I understand. I've been there. I know how hard it is to look up. I know how hard it is to accept the truth in what you are in. I understand. I get it. But in order for you to take just one little baby step, you have to realize that what you're in is not right and you do deserve better. And I know you can say it, I deserve better, but I know you don't believe it. And it's not enough. It's not enough to get you through something like this. But you know what is enough? God. God is the only way I am where I am today. He is the only way. And I didn't realize that at first. I didn't give him any of the credit. But when I look back now, I can tell you exactly what happened the day that I left that relationship. I can give you the sequence of events. I remember it so clearly, and it wasn't anything dramatic. In fact, there was such a peace about it. But I felt like I was not in my own body, and I wasn't. I was so weak and tired. God carried me. He carried me that entire day. He's been carrying my whole life. But that day was my footprints in the sand type of day, where when I look back on the beach, when we're both walking, there's only one set of footprints because it was then that he carried me. That was the only way. That was the only way. And it went like clockwork. And I just felt like I was just having this out of body. I could look down and see, even when I think back about it now, I'm just watching it happen. I was so numb to everything. God literally shut off all of my feelings. Every single piece of my feelings, he shut off. And he just took me away. Get what you need to get. Let's go. Here's what you're going to say tonight. I'm going to protect you. You have to trust me. I'm going to protect you. You have to trust me. And I did. Even though I didn't realize I was trusting him, because I wasn't like, oh, Father God. I had cried out to him in the hospital and I said, something has to change. You have to save me from this. Please save me from this. I'm begging you. I am begging you. I am so scared. I can't live like this, and something bad is really going to happen to me and my son. Something really bad. And God, I don't want to go out like this. I don't want to live my life like this anymore. I don't want to die like this. I don't want to be in this anymore. And I just truly broke down and cried to him. That was probably the first time I ever really even surrendered any part of my life to him, was that day, August 24th, 2012, at about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I had to walk myself to the shower in so much pain. And I just sat there and I just cried and I cried. And I was in so much pain from crying because, in a C-section, everything comes out. So my muscles were all stitched up and I was just in pain. I had no painkillers. I had Tylenol. Whoop-de-doo. And I couldn't ask the nurse for more. I was so scared that she was going to think I was like an addict or something. But I just remember hating exactly who I hated who I was. I didn't even know who that person was, but I hated him, hated her. And he delivered me from that situation. And he can deliver you from any situation. You may not know why, what, when, where, or how, but he will do it. And I dove into therapy. I dove headfirst into therapy. Because for so long, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. And that's okay. Yeah, you were a victim. You are a victim. And then my therapist taught me to look at it as I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And I felt so much pride in that. I felt a lot in playing the victim and being the victim. I felt ashamed. Why was I in this for so long? How did I let myself stay in this? How did I let it get so bad? How was I not strong enough to leave? And then when I learned to view it as, to reframe my mind and view it as I am the survivor, I felt pride. I was like, yeah, I felt strong. I felt empowered. Something in me turned when I looked at it that way. And now I'm neither a victim or a survivor. I'm just Megan. And that makes me so happy. If you're not watching me on YouTube right now, I am smiling so big because just saying that, I'm just Megan. That's exactly who I am. And here's my story. I'm not attached to my story. My story is no longer for me. I look back and I feel really sad for that girl. But I love her so much because she's so strong, even when she wasn't or felt that she wasn't. I commend that girl for waking up every day and doing what she needed to do. I commend her spirit. I commend her heart. I have grace for her. I forgive her. I love her so much. I don't feel pain when I look back at that. I feel power because this is where I am today. Megan De La Concha, a women's freaking empowerment and confidence coach. And I built my business and building my business around my life, around my pain or past pain, finding power in my past, finding power in my pain, finding joy and gratitude in my healing. And what I've done is I have taken all of those years and the winding road I went down, because let me tell you, it wasn't that easy afterwards either. It was better. It was a hell of a lot better. I was happier. But finding myself again, that was hard. It was hard because I still continued to ignore who I was inside. And I chased a lot of external things, like things that looked like a $300 Target run, things that looked like nails, things that looked like working out, hanging out with whomever, friends, let's just go out. Let's just go get drunk. Let's go have a good time. I missed out on all this stuff. Let's go do that. Yeah, it was definitely chasing where I lived, what I drove, jobs. And I recognized that it didn't matter how far I ran or how I reinvented myself with a new pair of shoes and a new shape of nail design and a new haircut and a new outfit from Target. It didn't matter because the person that was doing all of these things and in these new clothes and drinking that glass of wine and hanging out with these friends was still me. I was still taking me with me. So I had to turn that compass inward and do the core work, which was hard. But what God allowed me to do is do all of that dirty work, that core work, so I could bring this to the surface and I could use it for other women. Because let me tell you, for a period of time, I tried to deny that that was the relationship that I was in. I tried to delete it from my mind. I tried to forget it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't feel I needed to talk about it. I felt I'm healed. Why does my next relationship, why did my husband now need to know what I went through? And let me tell you, he only knew bits and pieces. And I never wanted to talk about it because why should I? I'm healed from it. I don't need to bring him, I don't need to bring it up. He doesn't need to know all of this stuff that happened. It does upset him, yes, not towards me, but of course, I'm his wife. Even then, as his girlfriend, someone who he loved and cared about, knowing that someone is in contact with because, that person and I share a son and we co-parent this day, someone that he sees at games and pickups and drop-offs and stuff like that, he wants to fight him, I'm sure. It hurts him because he loves me. And I don't want to see my husband hurt. But at the same time, it's a part of who I am. It's a part of the woman that he married. This is why he married such an incredible, confident woman, self-assured woman, a woman of God, because this is my past and he accepts it and I accept it. But I didn't. I tried to ignore it. And then I just had to say, God put it on my heart that whoa, what are you doing? This is not about you anymore. This is not about you. Yes, you're healed. Yes, look at you moving on with your life. Totally internal transformation, a 180. But this is not about you. This is about the other women that I'm calling you to serve. And so I was able to take everything that I did to get from the hell on earth, to get from that broken place of ashes where I was just dust with a heartbeat, to get from the ashes to the grace that I'm in now. Such a gracious life that I have. A grace from God that forgives me. A grace for myself that forgives me. That's kind. That's compassionate. That's what I do today. And that's how I serve women who are just like me. In that space, maybe just got out of that space, maybe recovering from that space that happened years ago, but never really fully recovered and are still trying to find who it is they are. It doesn't matter if you got remarried and you had kids and you went back to college. It doesn't matter. Heck, even me pursuing 3 master's degrees, I love education, but not that much. A lot of it was to validate who I was. I was trying to find who I was. I was trying to prove to the world and to myself and figure it out. Who is Megan? An external thing. And I love my education. I love it. But a part of that was just chasing who I was, trying to find out who I was. And so you can be 50 years out, but if you haven't truly found who you are on the inside, what your values and your needs and your wants, what triggers you, how you handle things, how you truly heal things. If you haven't figured that out yet, that's what I'm here for. That is my program, Ashes to Grace. And I built this for you because I built it for myself. It just took me a lot longer than 6 weeks. Right? It took me years and years and years. So I am taking the guesswork out of it. If God did not deliver me from that situation to sit there and be quiet. No, he did not. He delivered me from that situation and to go through everything else I went through to serve my sisters, to serve my God. This is my purpose. This is my sole purpose, is to aid and guide in the healing of so many women who are suffering out there in silence. And it doesn't have to be from an abusive relationship. It doesn't have to be. It could just be that maybe you just have never found yourself. Maybe you just have always been chasing the external things, trying to be somebody that you're not, trying to fake it till you make it. I lived by that for so long. So long. And I really believed that that was the way to do it. Maybe you always felt that you're just making lateral moves, relationships, friendships, money, careers. And you know that there's just something missing, and you feel like life is always just happening to you. And you feel like when you look at other women, when they have this just aura about them, there's just this confident energy about them that's almost intimidating. And you're like, why can't that be me? I just want that to be me. What does she have that I don't? What did she do that she deserves it and I don't? Let me tell you, you are that woman. You already are. But you have to do the internal work, but you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to spend any more time trial and error, chasing after the wrong things, afraid that you're going to die miserable because what the heck? Maybe this is just the life you were destined to have. Maybe this is just the cards that the world dealt you. It's not the truth. I am here to break that lie today and tell you no. It's not the truth, not one bit. And I am living proof that it's not the truth, and I'm not the only one. I am not the exception to the rule. I just figured it out. God just led me down a really long journey so I could lead you down a journey of personal empowerment while holding your hand. I am that person that I needed so long ago, whispering in my ear, telling me, you got this. This is what you are. Don't believe those lies. I know it because I can see it ahead of you. No, God allowed me to go through this alone so that I could go through this with you. And I love that. And I'm so grateful for that. And I invite you on my journey. And I hope that you invite me on yours. You guys, this is not what I was supposed to talk about today. This was not what I was supposed to record today. I was supposed to record an episode on something about, why it's so important to rest and the different types of rest. That's what I'm supposed to be talking about. But the Lord put it on my heart to talk about this. And so I am. And I hope that you, if you feel any bit in your heart, if your heart is shaking right now from any of this that I've said, and you're ready because you're so sick and tired of trying to do things one way and it's not working out for you, and you say, well, it hasn't been working out for me yet, so I need to do something completely different. I hope that you invite me in on your journey. I hope you invite me in as a friend. I would love to guide you. I would love to aid and support you in your transformation. I would love to tell you how to do it. If you are interested, go to megandelaconcha.com and book a discovery call with me. I guide women. I serve women in 2 different ways right now, 3 different ways. I have a private coaching, which is an intensive 16-week coaching. I have group coaching, which is actually now enrolling. I have 3 more spots left at this time that I'm recording this podcast, which is Thursday 2/11. Enrollment ends February 21st. If you want to get on the group coaching, the Ashes to Grace, it's where I teach you all of these amazing things to transform your life and how to really do the core work by holding your hand. And you have a community of a very small and sacred and intimate community of other women who are going through this journey with you. If you want a little sisterhood to help you get you through what it is you're going through and to find who you are so that you can come out of the next 6 weeks a truly transformed woman and be the woman that you've been searching to be your entire life, join me now. I invite you to join me now. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can go to my website and you can access the link there. You can sign up. We start February 23rd. It's a 6-week program, and it's a mix of live coaching, and it's a mix of modules that are dripped to you weekly, and some intensive homework for you to do, but you're not alone. We do it as a group. And a lot of extra amazing goodies. This is not an episode to sell myself. This is an episode to just tell you who I am, and God just put it on my heart to share this with you. This is an episode where I'm letting you know I'm available to you if you're ready for me, if you're ready for God. Again, head over to megandelaconcha.com. If you follow me on Instagram, or if you don't, I'm at Megan De La Concha. You can find the links there. You can email me back, Megan at Megan De La Concha. If you have any questions, you can book a discovery call with me. We can find out which is best for you. I think the group coaching program is amazing for everybody. It's awesome. It's affordable. And I would love to be a part of your transformation. So I am done with that. I'm actually very exhausted. That took a lot out of me. That's how you know the Holy Spirit is speaking. I love you, Lord Jesus. I love you guys out there. Have an amazing and empowered week. Please get in touch with me. I'm here for you. It's what I do. It's what I left my 9 to 5 to do, my friends. Have a wonderful, amazing week. We'll talk soon.